high above the tranquil skies. An unidentified military transport aircraft suddenly breached restricted airspace. At that very moment, U.S. President William and UK Prime Minister Peter were aboard Air Force One, which was immediately intercepted. Worse still, all onboard communication systems failed completely. Facing a sudden assault, the pilots attempted to fight back, but their firepower was no match for the attackers. In just a few seconds, the President and the Prime Minister could do nothing but grip their seats tightly, watching helplessly as the aircraft was forced into peril. To maintain cabin pressure, Air Force One was forced into an emergency descent to 10,000 feet. But just then, another wave of missiles struck, the engines were hit and completely disabled. Despite the pilots' desperate efforts to regain control, the aircraft was on the brink of collapse. William and Peter rushed toward the rear of the cabin, intending to escape by parachute. Yet most of the parachutes had been sabotaged. By sheer luck, two remained barely usable. They bailed out and landed near the Belarusian border. Surviving the crash, both men realized the real danger was only beginning. Soon after, the media reported, Air Force One crashes in western Belarus. The world widely assumed that the President and the Prime Minister had perished. In Washington, an emergency meeting was immediately convened. Vice President Allen swiftly took the oath as acting president. What was meant to be a grand NATO celebration was instantly overshadowed by shock and tragedy. Meanwhile, in the dense forest, William and Peter knew their enemies would not relent. They had to cross 24 kilometers of hostile terrain to reach a secret safe house in Poland. Peter analyzed calmly, Belarus would certainly seal off the crash site, making any rescue impossible. Worse still, if the enemy learned they were alive, they would stop at nothing to eliminate them. So when William tried to use his phone to signal safety, Peter stopped him immediately. Communications were almost certainly being monitored. Exposure would mean certain death. They had no choice but to conceal their identities and flee on foot. Passing the charred wreckage and scattered bodies, they realized the only mission left was survival and uncovering the truth. At the same time, Allen was overseeing the reboot and security update of Echelon, the intelligence system. But Russian arms dealer Philip had already infiltrated the network and seized control. NATO's most advanced surveillance system collapsed overnight. Classified files leaked, and trust among European nations began to unravel. Germany accused France of election interference. Italy was suspected of sabotaging the economy. A crisis of unprecedented scale swept across Europe. To move faster, William and Peter decided to risk stealing a car. But they were spotted by locals and nearly captured. Escaping by chance, they boarded a freight truck and slipped into Poland, eventually reaching the CIA safe house in Warsaw. Their relief was short-lived. Philip's operatives quickly tracked them down, triggering a fierce firefight. Agent Tom fought valiantly to protect them but was captured. William and Peter escaped through a hidden tunnel only to be surrounded again at the exit. At the critical moment, Peter's colleague Annie arrived. She had been tracking Philip since Spain and revealed his true motive: revenge against NATO. Philip's only son had been killed in a NATO-sanctioned military operation. From the attack on Air Force One to the breach of Echelon, everything pointed to inside assistance. An alarming truth: NATO's upper ranks had been infiltrated. The investigation soon turned toward NATO official Lisa, but when they traced her to a secret base in Croatia, they discovered she was merely a decoy. The real mastermind was someone else entirely. At that instant, the enemy struck again. Explosions and gunfire forced the team to flee in chaos. Peter was gravely injured, and the three of them leapt from a speeding train, barely clinging to life. The trail eventually led to the unthinkable: Vice President Allen. He had not only erased his digital footprints but also used Lisa as a cover to conceal his true identity. The mastermind behind it all, the newly sworn and acting president himself. Allen had colluded with Philip, willing to sacrifice both the president and the prime minister solely to seize control of NATO's future. When William and Peter finally arrived at the NATO summit, the truth came to light. Philip stormed into the assembly, intent on slaughtering everyone in vengeance for his son. At the decisive moment, the president and the prime minister stood together, ending the cycle of betrayal and bloodshed once and for all.